In this video, I'm going to go through all of the regulation changes coming into effect from Miami onwards. What changed, why it changed, and what it's actually going to look like on track. Because after 5 weeks off, Formula One didn't just come back. It's coming back totally different. Welcome to Track Limits. To understand what changed, you have to understand why. The 2026 regulations are the biggest overhaul the sport has seen in years. Completely new power units, a 50-50 power split between the combustion engine and the electric motor. You have a new aero philosophy from the ground up, eliminating ground effects. And through the 3 opening races, Australia, China, and Japan, some things just weren't working the way that many people intended, or at least the drivers intended. The 2 main problems were 1, qualifying didn't feel like qualifying, and 2, drivers weren't going flat out. They were managing energy, lifting early, gaming the harvest system to hit their numbers before the next corner, and it looked artificial. And the other issue was safety, because when the car behind is deploying energy and the car in front is harvesting, you get a speed differential that nobody, outside of Max Verstappen, actually anticipated at full speed. Oliver Bearman found that out at Suzuka with a 50G crash, and that's when the FIA moved fast. Over the last few weeks, they held a series of meetings, technical chiefs first, and drivers, and then a full session with all the team principals, power unit manufacturers, and FOM. And they came out with a package that goes live this weekend in Miami. The FIA called it an evolution, not a revolution. And the first change, and one of the most noticeable one, is the super clipping. It has increased from 250 kilowatts to a full 350 kilowatts. If you're not deep into the weeds of the power units, super clipping is the car harvesting energy through the electric motor while the driver is still at full throttle. Think regenerative braking, except the driver doesn't have to lift off the trigger to engage it. The engine is still running flat out. The motor is using some sort of that power to charge the battery at the same time. Now, the problem was the original 2026 rules capped that at 250 kilowatts, well below the motor's potential. So if a driver needed more charge than super clipping could give them, they had to go to a lift and coast instead. Lift off the throttle, let the car slow down, recover energy through the deceleration. And that's where the unnatural or artificial movement came from. That's where the yo-yo, as you want to call it, fans were watching and going, what the heck is happening? So from Miami on, super clipping goes to 350. Drivers can harvest more while staying flat out. And the FIA estimates that the time spent in super clip drops to around 2 to 4 seconds per lap. Less lift and coast, more consistent speed profiles down the straights, and much less of that dangerous closing speed gaps that we've seen between the cars. Now, the second change aimed specifically at fixing qualifying. The maximum energy a driver can harvest during a qualifying lap drops from 8 megajoules down to 7. This one sounds kind of counterintuitive at first. So less harvesting means less battery charge, less power to deploy, and the cars end up about a second per lap slower in qualifying. So why do it? Because the problem wasn't the cars being too slow, it was the drivers were spending the whole lap calculating how and where to hit that 8 megajoule ceiling. Every corner, every straight was a harvest decision, and the lap felt like a management exercise, really, instead of an attack and going as fast as you can. Drop that to 7 megajoules, and you're suddenly not squeezing every megajoule out of every sector. You can actually drive the car, push when you want to push, and that's what a qualifying lap is supposed to feel like in all of racing. The FIA ran thousands of simulations to land on 7 megajoules. There were suggestions to go further down to 6, but the data pointed to 7 as the right balance for now. The third change going into Miami is different from the other 2. It's not fully adopted yet, but it's being trialed in Miami and officially implemented based on what the data shows, and it's entirely about safety at the start. Here's the problem it's solving. Under the current 2026 rules, the electric motor can't help with the launch until the car is already above 50 kilometers per hour. That rule exists so no team can engineer something that functions like launch control. But if a car has a terrible combustion start and barely moves, which we've seen, it becomes a stationary object on a full grid of cars doing 200 kilometers an hour. That's just not smart. That's just a pretty unfortunate situation. So the new system detects abnormally low acceleration right after the clutch release. If a car is getting left behind, it automatically kicks in a minimum level of electric deployment, just enough to get it moving and out of harm's way. And at the same time, warning lights flash on the rear and the sides of the car, so every driver coming up behind has a visual signal that something's wrong ahead of them. If it works as designed, you remove one of the most dangerous scenarios the new regs have created, without giving anyone really a sporting advantage. Pretty smart fix, and should have been there from day one, honestly, but here we are. So that's the package. 3 changes, all focused on energy management, all going live at the same time as basically every team shows up in Miami with major upgrade packages on a sprint weekend of all, and that gives you 90 minutes now to figure out your new car before you're already in qualifying. It is a lot hitting at once. The thing worth being honest about is that the FIA and Formula One don't think the racing itself is broken. They said that explicitly. The concern was the qualifying spectacle and the safety picture, not the wheel-to-wheel action. So if you're hoping these changes completely fix the yo-yo racing complaint, that may not happen. The bigger structural stuff, if it comes, is more likely to come in a 2027 conversation. What Miami does give us is the real test. Simulations say this works, the track will tell us whether the simulations are right, and honestly, with the most interesting grid in years, all running new cars under new rules in a sprint format, I cannot wait to see what Friday afternoon looks like in Miami. That's your full breakdown of every regulation change coming into effect from Miami onwards. If this helped, drop a like and subscribe to Track Limits. I'll be back with full reactions once this weekend plays out. See you on the other side of Miami, and let's hope for a clean race.